Every year, dozens of people move to Portland looking for a fresh start, new scenery, new chapter, new lifestyle. Here's the thing no one is telling you. There's one mistake that I see that keeps showing up over and over again. So in today's video, we're going to be breaking down the 8 biggest mistakes people make when moving to Portland, and more importantly, how can you avoid them? Hi, I'm Stewart. I've called Portland home for well over 40 years. My team and I are totally committed to helping people find the right communities and the right lifestyle. We've got over 100 5-star reviews to prove it. In this video, I'm really going to try to show you exactly how to avoid the pitfalls that I see every day and how to make a solid, confident purchase when you make the move to Portland. Mistake number 8, Portland proper is the only option. And a lot of people come to Portland for a long weekend or a visit and they explore the downtown, or they see all these really cute, quaint neighborhoods like Irvington, Hawthorne, Alberta Arts, and they think, yep, this is Portland. This is where I want to live. But the truth is, Portland proper is only one piece of the metro, and it's not always the best fit for most relocating buyers. Portland is what makes the headlines. It's what people Google. It's the name of our airport. So naturally, people assume moving to Portland means living inside Portland city limits. But once they start comparing the homes, the lifestyle, maybe even the taxes, they quickly realize that there are alternatives just outside the city that actually fit their needs even better, and especially ones on the west side. Here's what a lot of people get surprised by. Property taxes are higher in Portland proper, which is Multnomah County, than either of the other 2 neighboring counties like Washington or Clackamas. And on top of that, Portland proper has additional local taxes, things like the art tax, the homeless supportive housing tax, preschool for all, and other city-specific surtaxes. That means 2 buyers with the same income can pay very different tax bills depending on which side of the county lines they live on. And that's often the turning point for people once they start running the math and looking at options around town. Many people discover that while Portland is what they've heard about, it's not always where they want to live day to day. The close-in suburbs, especially on the west side, offer newer homes, lower property taxes, bigger lots, less density, sometimes quieter streets, and better commute options, while still having some good food options, parks, trails, farmer markets, and local charm. In fact, it may even be closer to amenities without giving up that Portland vibe. So it's not all packed density and new construction like people assume. In fact, it can be the opposite. Places like Lake Oswego and West Linn, Tigard, Sherwood, Beaverton, Hillsborough have pockets that feel serene, wooded, established, and incredibly livable. Multnomah County, which is Portland proper, has the urban feel, the older home culture, plus the higher taxes and city-specific fees. While Washington County has lower taxes, you're closer to the high-tech areas and Nike. Westside also includes Clackamas County, which has very strong communities and school systems. Portland is a region, not just the city limits. And if you only focus on Portland proper, you could be missing out on neighborhoods that fit your lifestyle better, give you more house for the money, and come with significantly lower taxes. And once you've narrowed down the right part of town, the next thing you'll want to think about is, how are you actually getting around Portland? Because in Portland, bridges and tunnels can completely shape your daily routine. Mistake number 7, underestimating bridges, tunnels, and choke points. This is a big one, especially for people who are used to different types of cities. Why it happens is because it's on a map, Portland looks very compact. Everything looks just across the river, but we don't have 15 bridges. We have a handful. And when one goes down, a lot of them can be bottlenecked. Bridges like the Ross Island, Markham, Fremont can back up for miles. And the Vista Ridge Tunnel is a major funnel, and one car crash can slow everything down. And the Burnside Bridge is getting a seismic rebuild in the coming years, so expect those to be longer closures or detours that take you 20-30 minutes longer. And the back roads aren't back roads anymore. They're major arterial roads leading to people's work now. In Portland, bridges and tunnels aren't just infrastructure, they dictate your daily lifestyle. If you underestimate them, even simple errands can become exhausting. And we try to point this out to people when they're considering a home where they will be working or commuting and how it affects their overall quality of life. Because often people move here for that, not so they can just sit in a car most of the day. They want quality of life. They want usually less commuting. Mistake number 6, living too far from medical hubs. So people fall in love with the home, the charm, the yard, and someone you love might need to be close to medical care. We've got OHSU, which sits on a big steep hill in Southwest Portland. They've got specialists there, as well as Providence St. Vincent's, which sits on the northwest side of Portland. Post-op visits, can become exhausting if you're too far from them. And a lot of people need to be close to some of these major medicals. But if you're looking in rural parts of, say, Clackamas or Washington County, you might be too far away. Now, we do have Kaiser hospitals, one on either side of the river, but that might be too far of a drive for some people because we actually had some clients come into town in the last year, and a big draw for them was the medical facilities, specifically Kaiser. That's who they have, and they wanted to know, where are those hospitals and where are they in direct relationship to the housing that they were looking at? And come to find out, we sat down with them over coffee and we were able to show them on a map, like, you are going to be really far away from these medical facilities that you need. And the husband had some health issues, and it was imperative that he be within 20 minutes or less of a Kaiser. In just looking at the map and kind of talking it through, they realized they had to change their expectations of the type of house they were going to have to look for, because ultimately it was more important for them to be close to the hospitals that they needed. So we got it to work out in their favor. We went on a search, found the right house, but that was an example of, if a medical facility is really important to you, or a specialist, and you have to see them on the regular, it's important to know where those sit in regards to the type of properties you're going to be looking for. Mistake number 5, ignoring Portland's weather. Most people actually come and visit us in like June, September, and Portland looks like a postcard. But we have actually 2 strong seasonal things that can be maddening if you're not prepared. Number 1 is the long gray wet winters, and number 2 could be smoke in the air in late summer. November through March is very gray. It could absolutely affect your mood, and outdoor life can slow way down. It's also difficult when you're waking up and it's dark, and you're going back from your commute at home and it's 4 o'clock and it's dark outside. And sometimes when it's dark and rainy in the middle of the day, it feels dark. Or you're in the middle of summer and you start noticing some of the days are really smoky. Now, Portland can be gorgeous, but it is imperative you know that some of these seasonal changes can really make a difference in the way you enjoy living here. In fact, we had some clients that came in January of this year, and they rented for 3 weeks to see if they could handle the wet, the cold, the dark, the rain. And luckily for them, it was a beautiful January, not normal, which we told them it was really sunny most days. But the good news is they had made a few visits here and they kind of got the gist, and they bought. And we just caught up with them last weekend at one of our client parties, and they said they absolutely love living here. They actually love it when it's cooler, and so all is well. But for a lot of people, that may not be the story. And so we always encourage people, if they haven't ever lived here or they haven't visited when it's during the rainy season, it's not a bad idea to come take a visit or an extended stay so you can really feel it out, because you might think it's no big deal, but it might also be a total shock to the system. Mistake number 4, overlooking some of the things you're going to have to look into when you're buying these homes in Portland. A lot of people want to buy and have a view. These views sit on hills. Some of these hills might be in areas that you have to look at the geological foundations of. It is not uncommon to buy some of these homes and have alternative or more inspections on them. For example, if you're going to buy on a hill with a steep terrain, which is not uncommon in northwest or southwest parts of Portland, you may have to hire a geotech to take a look at the soil to make sure that the house isn't going to fall off a cliff. Or you may be hiring a structural engineer to take a look at that foundation and maybe some of the drainage issues around the house, because these things come into play when you're buying on different types of landscape. And a lot of these houses are in high demand. People love them because typically they're closer in, they come with extraordinary style homes, and the views can go for days. But you don't want to set yourself up to buy a house and not do some of these specific inspections and hire specific people. Yes, it will cost you more to do inspections on these homes, but if you don't do them, the total risk falls on you. What if that foundation is not stable? What if the soil is not stable? These are huge concerns and could be really detrimental in even reselling the property. And while we sort of joke about them, it's reality here in some of the areas that are extremely steep in the north and southwest parts of Portland. If you're looking for a house with a view in some of these areas, just be warned, it is important to do a study on the landscape and potentially the foundation itself. Mistake number 3 is ignoring density. It's one of the biggest surprises for people moving here and how much Portland has changed about about density and zoning. And a lot of buyers picture these classic neighborhoods where no one's ever going to touch any of the old homes or the big lots, and yet that's just not reality anymore. Portland's residential infill project, also known as, we call it RIP for short, allows multiple units on lots within the city. And that means that the big lot down the street could be chopped up for those, or they tear down an old cute bungalow. And here's what the hidden challenges come in. You might see more triplexes or fourplexes going up in a given area. And if you're living next to an area being built on or having new construction, you're gonna be experiencing that new construction noise and turnover more than you expected. Street parking can get tighter as density increases, and the types of homes can be different. For example, you might be buying a house that is a higher end home, and they could be building affordable housing down the street, rental units, or mixed use. And in some areas, the overall neighborhood feel can shift dramatically over time because of all these changes. Now, for some people, this is a flexibility. It could add a benefit to them, but for others, especially those looking for a long-term stability feel, it can be a pretty big surprise if they don't know the zoning rules ahead of time. The big thing about Portland is we need more affordable housing. So builders and developers alike are on the hunt to build, build, build. And with density as the name of the game, they will shove as many homes on a piece of land as they can, all in the name of profit and in the name of the city requirements. So the bottom line here is zoning can drastically affect your street and your day-to-day lifestyle. So before you buy, take a few minutes to check what's allowed in your area and the lots maybe next to you that are in question. Mistake number 2, skipping environmental checks. This is a big one, especially for people moving in from out of state. In a lot of markets, things like radon is not really a thing, and heating oil tanks are basically ancient history. So buyers don't even think to ask about these things. But here in Portland, especially with our older homes, these are very real concerns. When you're buying in the Portland metro area, the inspection process, especially for these 100-year-old homes, it's way longer, it's a lot more expensive, and honestly, it's more intrusive. But it is that way for a reason. We have to make sure you fully understand what's going on with the house and with the land underneath it. Here are some of the hidden challenges people don't expect. Radon. It's extremely common in parts of the Portland area. What's radon, you ask? It's basically a natural gas that's emitted from the bedrock in the ground. We have to make sure that we can get a healthy radon score, and if not, we need to mitigate it. Not entirely uncommon. Structural engineers and even geotechs, like I'd mentioned before, these things become normal if you're buying older homes or homes on slopes and in specific neighborhoods. Old oil tank can be buried in the ground, believe it or not. They can still be there. If they leak, the cleanup costs can be tens of thousands of dollars. And we even see sometimes that if documentation is missing on these, especially an old oil tank, it can become a major resale issue or cost down the road. And oftentimes we have to go back through the process as if it's never been decommissioned before. This has happened to a client of mine. So it's important to make sure we can get it decommissioned and do it during the sale of the home. The bottom line is this: environmental due diligence isn't optional in Portland, it is essential. Skipping it can just create a massive headache and surprise costs for you when you go to sell. Mistake number 1, and this is a big one, the mistake I see more than anything else. People visit Portland, they fall in love, coffee shops, food scene, all the little walkability areas, the neighborhoods, and they assume the entire Portland metro feels exactly like that, but it doesn't. It's not even close. A lot of buyers think walkability is everywhere, so that every home they're gonna be looking at is gonna be close to cute restaurants, local breweries, boutiques, there's gonna be parks everywhere, and in reality, those highly walkable food areas are limited, they're more expensive, and they often come with trade-offs like smaller lots, older homes, higher taxes, and sometimes more noise and congestion. But every part of the Portland metro has its own personality, its own strengths, its own compromises. And if you don't factor these things into your decision, you can end up in a neighborhood that looks amazing on a weekend, but it doesn't actually fit your daily life at all. Now, here are some of the hidden challenges that people overlook that are kind of important to be aware of. Big tax differences, right, between the counties. We've talked about that. Microclimates, believe it or not, some areas get more snow, more fog, more wind than others. Your commute realities, we've talked about that, how that can drastically change the way you enjoy your life here in Portland. And school differences, that actually matters if you have a family or plan on having a family. And the housing age versus your lifestyle needs, like your walkability, or if you're not wanting to buy an older home or you want a smaller home or less maintenance. Portland is not one vibe, it's many, many vibes. And what you hear about in the news isn't even the full picture of Portland. And the right place for you depends on your routines, your commute, your lifestyle, what actually matters to you Monday through Friday, not just what feels good on a sunny Saturday while you're visiting Portland. Most regrets that I see aren't about paint, and square footage. They're really about those blind spots, focusing on just Portland proper, choosing homes that are not the right commutes or close to medical facilities that they need, or underestimating the weather conditions here. And of course, treating Portland like it's one big monolithic vibe. And if you're considering making a move here, reach out to us anytime. Call, text, email. All of our contact information is below. And don't forget to download our free relocation guide. It is over 30 pages, packed full of great stuff for you. Thank you for watching, and we will see you on the next video.